NATO and the EU are working on the formation of a so-called drone wall, which is key to Europe's future defence and deterrence capabilities. NATO's top military officer, the Supreme Allied Commander of Europe, or SACEUR, and NATO allies say the drone wall is urgent, given the growing spate of Russian jets and drones into several NATO countries' airspace, including Poland and Romania. NATO defence ministers met this week to discuss the drone wall, as well as how best to react to airspace violations. In addition, growing number of allies committed money to the newly formed Pearl initiative, designed for Europe and Canada to purchase weapons from the US to deliver to Ukraine. Colonel Martin O'Donnell, Chief Public Affairs Officer for NATO SACEUR, says protecting the eastern flank of Europe is the highest priority right now.
NATO, obviously, working with the EU, working with all allies, right, to shore up their air defenses all along the Eastern Front. And for the Supreme Allied Commander Europe, he views the Eastern Front not simply as those countries that border the East. He views that from the high north all the way down to the Black Sea, the Mediterranean Sea, and beyond, and at depth. As the NATO Secretary General has said, we're all Eastern flank nations.
One of the issues coming into this meeting was how and whether to shoot down Russian jets or drones, that there wasn't a uniform rules of engagement. How has that changed or evolved during this few days?
So I think one of the most important things to mention is the fact that SACEUR, Supreme Allied Commander Europe, with all forces that are assigned to him, assigned to NATO, has the authorities at the moment to act. And we saw that with the incident in Poland and Estonia recently, where NATO had the authorities to and acted appropriately.
There's been a lot of reports that there's been quite a sudden and sharp decrease in military spending and military support for Ukraine amongst allies, over 40%. I mean, what's your response to that? Is that worrying, obviously, now coming into the winter?
There was momentum from all the nations on contributions, not just to per se bilateral contributions from a nation to Ukraine or multilateral contributions, but also for initiatives such as the Pearl or the prioritized Ukraine requirements list. Very, very good response. I believe you heard that from the Secretary General, right? More than half of NATO allies have expressed commitments to contribute. And I think we'll see here more announcements very, very soon.
Now, we know that Donald Trump is obviously going to make a decision on Friday about Tomahawks and the use of Tomahawks. But what's your own impression of the impact of this discussion?
Well, I think there's a number of things worldwide, right, that potentially make the movement towards peace more possible. We saw recent developments in the Middle East, right, that President Trump drove. We'll see what happens on Friday, and we'll see what happens from Friday.